So GDC's best attorney, Phil Harding, is back with us. And Phil, today we want to highlight some questions that you get and misconceptions about what happens after a car accident. I actually think about this stuff a lot. What would happen? You know, the series of events that would play out, and that's where you come into this. So what happens when you get into an accident? I'm not saying anything to anybody.
Right.
They ask, right?
You are, and you think you're being rude. You're not. Look, if you have a duty, again, car accident, hurt on the property of another. If the other side calls you up, the other side's insurance company or an attorney or whatever, you need to know that there's a Colorado law that says it is illegal, right? Illegal under Colorado law for someone to call you and take a statement within 15 days if you're injured. And injury means if you've seen a doctor at all. And here's the reason why. Look, let's just go through a scenario, okay? Yeah. Very easy, most typical, someone rear ends you. The insurance company calls you up, the other side, and says, hey, look, we've accepted liability, right? They're trying to put your guard down.
Sure.
And they say,
hey, how you feeling?
How you feeling?
Oh, I feel great.
Yep.
But then 5 days later, your neck starts to hurt.
Yeah, or they say, tell me about the accident. Yeah. They've already accepted liability. Why do they need your statement, right? Or if, let's say you're at a four-way stop and they can't really tell who's at fault, you let your own insurance company run interference for you. Because here's the reason why. Cars, and you know this, have EDRs, stands for an event data recorder. It's a black box. And so
that's right. You say, hey, they say, how fast are you going? I think I was going 40. And then it turns out you were doing 50.
Yeah.
And then they think you're a liar.
Yeah. So let's say, you go, man, sure, I'm happy to give you a statement. The person that ran into me, they're going 40 or 50 miles an hour. They pull the EDR and they look at it and they find out the guy was only going 20 miles an hour. But still, that's a heavy hit.
Yeah.
And they go, when you go to settle, you exaggerate. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay you as much.
Classic lawyer.
Yeah. Or, yes. Right after the accident, maybe your neck or your back hurts, and you make a statement and tell them about that. And then once treatment starts going on that, it then starts going to your arms or your legs, or lesser pains come out. They say they're not going to pay for that.
Well, that rolls into the next thing, because then you heard in more areas, they've already limited how much you can get, because they say, well, he doesn't have any problems, he's healthy. That's the EOB part, right?
Right, and so people ask me then, because the other side says, send me your bill, your medical bills, we're going to pay for it. Wrong, the other side writes one check, and only one check at the very end. But let's talk about why they want to see your insurance. So if you're injured at all, I want you to use your health insurance, Medicaid, or Medicare. And here's the reason why. If you have these, you get something that's known as an EOB, which stands for Explanation of Benefit. And generally, if you've seen an EOB, forever, you see that insurance company reduces. So here's a real EOB. Went to the hospital, $29,000 billed. Health insurance comes back and says, you know what, normal and customary, we're reducing this by $20,000, so the amount that's covered by the plan is $8,500. The hospital writes the rest of it off. If you would have sent this to the other side, they would say, oh, okay, the only thing that's paid out is the $8,500, so now the other side, when you settle, is only going to pay you $8,500. Wrong. You have that discount because you signed up for Medicaid, or you've been working to get Medicare, or you pay for the health insurance, not the bad guy that ran into you. So they have to pay the full $29,000. On this one incident alone, you've lost out $21,000. You still get all your other medical bills. You get pain and suffering. You get, disfigurement, lost time from work. Just don't even talk to the other side. It's super bad.
Things that you don't know that a lawyer can help you with. What if they don't have insurance? What happens then?
Yeah, so a good attorney can find insurance that doesn't even exist. First of all, the person that's driving, if he's driving someone else's car, the owner of the car comes first. After that, it's the driver of the car. And so here it is. If you want this graphic, I can send it to you. But you look to the owner, then you look to the driver, then you look to your own insurance. It's called uninsured, underinsured. Colorado law requires, even if you go to your insurance agent and say, I want the cheapest insurance on the universe, they have to put on uninsured, underinsured unless you sign a waiver. I have people that come in and say, yeah, I told them I didn't want it. If the insurance company can't produce that waiver you've signed, I'll get you that uninsured, underinsured. And then you also look at other family members. Let's say you live with a brother or a sister, and I know you're not in their car. Their insurance could cover you, and if you put in a claim, there's a special insurance regulation that says your insurance company can't raise your rates because it's not your fault.
Well, Phil, there's a lot to keep in mind when this happens in a car accident. And that's why we hire guys like you. So if you want to reach Phil Harding and Associates directly, just call him, 303-762-9500. You can get a free consultation anytime, and you can find Phil online at hlaw.com. Thanks again for sponsoring this segment.